Well, tomorrow the NAPLAN tests get underway, grading literacy and numeracy in our schools. We asked you on Facebook what you think of the testing, and your response was overwhelmingly negative. Lee says, quote, if handled correctly, the tests are useful as a diagnostic tool, but the pressure the teachers place on the children makes them harmful. And James says they're completely ridiculous. It's bad for learning, bad for teaching, bad for kids and teachers alike, and doesn't give any real information to anyone. Parenting expert Justin Coulson is so concerned with the effect of the tests, he refuses to let his kids sit them. And he joins us now. Good morning to you, Justin.
Good morning.
Tell us, what is your main objection to these tests?
There are two main objections, and I think that the Australian parents have picked up on this pretty well. First of all, it's just bad for our kids. But secondly, it's based on a model of education that's not working. We're seeing in countries overseas where there's a lot of standardised testing going on, that instead of getting better on educational outcomes, they're actually going down. I don't think any Australian parent wants their kids to go down compared to the rest of the world, but that's where we're heading. In fact, we've gone from 2nd to 9th in reading just in the last little while, and the standardised testing is taking us that way. It's a model that doesn't work, but perhaps more importantly, well, as importantly, not only does the model not work, but it's bad for our kids. I had a conversation with a mum of a Year 5 girl just on the weekend. Her daughter has come home from school for the last 3 weeks, and every time there's been an opportunity to do any art or craft or music or drama or sport, the teachers have had to say, well, look, you know, we'd love to do those things, but today we're going to be doing NAPLAN testing. If you go past any school in the country today, there's going to be a big sign outside the school saying NAPLAN tests start tomorrow. And for most Australian children, they'll be doing them if they're in grade 3, grade 5, grade 7 or grade 9. But it's not good for them. They're under pressure. The stakes are really high. Every school that does well, and let's face it, literacy and numeracy matter a lot, but schools that are doing well on this are going to get $75,000. Teachers will get $8,000 as a bonus. And so everything outside of that, everything that's peripheral to reading and writing, is being pushed aside so that kids can practice NAPLAN.
So you don't think that it's good in some way to be able to compare how your child is going to other children in the same academic areas?
It's nice to know how we're going. One of the big challenges that we have, and we know this quite clearly, is that kids develop at different rates. And there are kids that are getting tapped on the shoulder today, as they've done in the last few years with NAPLAN, who are being told, you know, you haven't been shading the right bubbles for the last couple of weeks while we've been practicing. Why don't you have a couple of days off while the NAPLAN's on? That's not good for kids, especially if they're 8.
So you think it's open to manipulation?
Oh, very much.
You've got 5 children.
Five daughters. 5 daughters.
Yeah. One of them is meant to be sitting the test tomorrow. You've said to the school, no, she's not going to be sitting the test. What sort of reaction have you had? You
know, the principal is very supportive of this kind of thing. He would prefer, I suppose, as part of the curriculum, as part of what we're supposed to be doing, that there weren't people stirring the pot. I had a chat with a gentleman in the Greater Brisbane area. He's got children at a private school in the Greater Brisbane area. 120 kids from that private school will not be sitting NAPLAN because parents are so concerned of the detrimental effects. It's bad for kids. It's bad for education, and it's bad for our country's future. OK, Justin Coulson, good to talk to you. Good to get your perspective on it. We'd like to hear yours today at 9.com.au. Carl?